Without any waste of time, ngithanda ukuthi nonke nginibulise. My name is Teboho Ngubane, and it stands for those who came before me, those who are with me currently, and those who are going to be with me in my academic journey. Those are my ancestors. Ke setloholo sa babina pe babona mane. Ba nuka e kgolo e senang mokgwa le mokgogadi. Gante ke setlogolwana sa lekgwati. Bao ke matebele makwangkwang ke bo manopa habedi ba nope gararo ke bo manopa ba kokotletsa ke batho ba reng he ba sa khumani nama ba je motho hayi kanti ngumzukulwane wamaNdebele oncaku opofu omanala obingweni abantu abathokozayo njalo ezimene ezivumako nezingavumi amaNdebele lawo kanti lembewu enibona lapha mkweni yensiza umtsakiwe uSilas ongubane labo amabomvu osomasho umatomela omalandela ngwanongcukumane uma ekumuntu bafike ngesihlanga enzalo kanzumbane ngingcongce ephuza kwezidi ziziba ngabe beyiphuza kwezimfishane umlomo wazibuye nodaka ngingunoma sikusika inyoni esindwa isilasayo bathi ungubane belapha kanti akasekho qhu sasha nanguya hayi ngingusodlelezo wadla amabele washiya mhlophe njengenkehlane bathi ungubane hayi akasekho kanti ngilabathi inqunya amakhanda ziyekwe nginjalo ke hayi we are in Africa and this is how we greet in an African way, one of many ways which allows us to be who we are. And I am grateful to be having this opportunity. And without any waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping ukuthi kuzoba khona imkhulungwane la oyihlabateng mididuetsane or we don't have Africans la. I hear kuthulile nje. But in any way, without any waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, my presentation would be as follows. I am going to deal with the background, and thereafter I will talk to the integration of digital preservation methods for this knowledge, and I will give an overview of the current digital preservation techniques. I will also address Unisa's goal in creating a more inclusive and representative curriculum. And thereafter, I will deal with strategies, go to potential challenges, opportunities, the potential benefits for preserving this knowledge and lessons that we could learn, and go to creating a more inclusive an enriched educational environment by preserving this knowledge. And then I'll end up with recommendations and I will conclude. The background of my story is as follows. The 1976 student uprising this is where my story is coming from. And I believe that even before 1976, colleagues, there were uprisings. This, in fact, the event of the 1976 did not start on that day. There were culminating, in fact, activities that led to that event. And it was followed by Fees Must Fall, Roads Must Fall, and all these events were calling for one thing only. That was the transformation and the decolonization of curriculum within our educational space. And based on that, universities were called to transform the curriculum. And Unisa was one of the universities that answered to that call. By answering to that call, meaning for the first time in Unisa, or for that matter in South Africa, by that time, Unisa was in fact able to go to the students and ask them what they need to be taught, how they need to be taught, possibly when they need to be taught. So those were critical questions that informed Unisa to go to an extent of having a curriculum transformation unit that was focusing only on curriculum transformation within the university. That gave birth to the application of the indigenous knowledge because that was the basis of us transforming the curriculum up until today, whilst we are still busy mingling and trying to find our ways within this curriculum transformation process. Thereafter, curriculum transformation process was developed within Unisa, and this curriculum transformation process is the one that I am going to deliver to you and suggest that it is one of the possible ways that we could in fact preserve our indigenous knowledge, because it starts from us and then it goes out. As my previous colleague who presented indicated, that there are now, in fact, websites and content sites that you can go to that are specifically meant for indigenous knowledge. The continuous debate that is currently ensuing, it is about the curriculum transformation. What is it that the students were fighting for? When they made that call from 1976 up until now, what exactly were they calling for? Some scholars are arguing that curriculum transformation is elusive because of different context dictating the type, method, framework, and strategy that drives curriculum transformation. Hence, I'm not going to suggest that whatever works for Unisa, it can work in any context. We need to make it context-based in order for it to work. So whatever I'm going to present to you, it is in fact Unisa contextualized way of transforming the curriculum. So it's an elusive concept, hence it doesn't have the beginning and the end. It evolves all the time. This is what was mentioned by one of our guest speaker yesterday, Professor Shai, who indicated that we need to have within our universities specialists who are going to credit the curriculum transformation, who are going to monitor the curriculum transformation and go to an extent of monitoring and evaluating the curriculum transformation within the university. Amonkete indicated that indigenous knowledge is mostly present within older generations and it is not preserved. This knowledge will die if we are not preserving it. Hence my presentation and all the colleagues who have presented, including the previous speaker, who has indicated that there are ways and means that we can digitalize or preserve this knowledge through digital preservations. Unisa has gone to an extent of having a standard-based framework that was intended to assist in implementing curriculum transformation, specifically focusing on module development or module design. And then there were 11 curriculum transformation principles that were developed. And from there, they informed the curriculum transformation pillars, which are 5. Thereafter, one of the curriculum transformation pillars that was identified was technology integration pillar, which used the TIPEC model of integrating the technology in our teaching and learning. One of the models that was used, except the TIPEC, was the substitute, augmentation, modification, and redefinition model, which is SAMR in short. And that was also supported by TIPEC, as I've indicated. So these were the 2 models that were adopted within Unisa for us to transform the curriculum. And this was pillar number 4 of integrating curriculum transformation, or integrating technology in our curriculum transformation. This model was in fact modified by one of our own, Professor Gumbo, Umuzireya Panza, who went to an extent of saying that model does not in fact include indigenous knowledge system. It does not cater for indigenous knowledge system. Hence, he went to an extent of suggesting or recommending the Ind and West TIPEC or TPEC. that Indent West TPEC, it's a model that would take into consideration the indigenous knowledge when we are, in fact, infusing the curriculum transformation pillars in our modules. Right. He went to an extent of saying the integration of indigenous knowledge in an open distance learning will be possible if we use this Indent West TPEC. Policies and overview of the current digital, where we can use, what we can use to protect, in fact, this knowledge. We've got policies. Unisa has, in fact, gone to an extent of creating policies. And this has been, in fact, seen also in Botswana to preserve this knowledge. To say one of the ways that we can preserve this knowledge is policies, and they've got strategies, resources, and the records that can preserve this knowledge. In Botswana, that's what they are also doing. In Namibia, they are also saying there is a content preservation method through e-learning. So they're also suggesting that, which is what my previous colleague has indicated. And in South Africa, one of the scholars by the name of Masinya indicated that employing anti-colonial strategies and policies could be effective in preserving this knowledge. In Unisa, we've got policies that are there, like I've indicated, and I've mentioned two of them. And we also have the curriculum, the languages policies in Unisa, which advocates for the application of African languages. I'm going to, in my next slides, touch on African languages, their importance, and how can we use them to preserve the knowledge? How can we use them to preserve indigenous knowledge? These African languages, colleagues, as we know, they are very rich. We've got everything that we can ask for in our African languages. And our challenge is that we do not use them. And once we losing them, and we are not going to achieve the preservation that we need to achieve. Right, African languages should be in our teaching and learning. That is what languages policy advocates, and that is also part of our curriculum transformation policy. It is a need that our African languages must be in teaching and learning. Path argues that only few indigenous people make use of their indigenous African languages in their essential daily transaction. This is true. If you look at our context within Unisa and also in other universities, right? Like in this presentation, since yesterday up until today, we are presenting in English, no any other African language, right? And if you can check, the majority of us are African-speaking, we speak African languages, right? But we are still not applying. Even if policies allows us, even if we know that it's in fact a challenge for us to do that, because some of us have tried to present, but you find colleagues who would reprimand you to say that is not the language of instruction, within the institution, and then you start pulling back, and you end up not using your own mother tongue or your language because you've got this comments that makes you not to be using your language. Policies are there. They support the application of using our languages. But the challenge is that we don't use them, not even here, only in our present seminars. Even in our workspaces, in our offices, you'll find 2-3 people who are in fact able to speak one of the African languages, but they're not using them. They will use English, even if they're Black people, they will use English all the time. It's like somebody said to us, we must not use these languages. So this is still a challenge. And up until we use our African languages in our daily activities or daily academic activities, it is not going to be possible for us to use them in our languages, even if policies allows us, colleagues. Curriculum must be planned with previously marginalized and colonized languages in mind. This is what is happening in Unisa. And this is what we have tried to implement up until now within Unisa. But we still have challenges. I'm going to indicate to those. We've got policies that indicate this. One of them is a curriculum transformation policy, like I've indicated, languages policy. Multilingualism forms a central feature of curriculum planning, material design, and pedagogy. Curriculum are conceptualized and developed within African languages in mind, including, right, a medium of instruction in specific programs or modules within Unisa. And these efforts, we could see them. They are evident in colleges like SEDU, our own college, in colleges like law, in colleges like accounting, in colleges like human sciences, just to mention 4 out of the 9 that we have. These are there. And all this work was done by the Curriculum Transformation Unit between 2018 and last year, which was 2023. Even though most South Africans understand African languages, universities appear to unwilling to change to employ them in teaching and learning. Currently, within Unisa, we've got teaching and learning modules that have introductions, that have parts of their lessons in African languages. This year, they went to an extent of translating the whole module to African languages, but that is only part of, we need to go to an extent of teaching in these languages, have the whole lesson in 1 or 2 of those African languages without any compromise. So we still have that challenge, but we are getting there slowly, but for sure. Right? Academics do not employ, I've indicated that in their everyday activities. What might be the reason for this? One of the reasons might be that people or academics are not yet personally transformed, right? As indicated by Paul and colleagues, right? He emphasized the importance of individually first transforming epistemically and personally to realize personal shift towards transformation. This is a big need, colleagues, because if we do not do that, then we've got a big challenge. Personal transformation, right? Currently within the Unisa space, we've got people who are heading curriculum transformation, but they themselves, they're not transformed. You've got colleagues who are intending to transform the modules, but they themselves, they're not transformed, right? We've got, as I've indicated, I'm going to talk about that. Unisa has gone to an extent of developing a curriculum transformation course and a curriculum transformation student MOOC to be able to train academics and students on what curriculum is and how to infuse these curriculum transformation principles and pillars. Despite the government, like I've indicated, policies allows us to do that, but we still have a challenge, colleagues. DHET is approved. In fact, Curriculum Transformation Unit within Unisa has came about DHET as part of the sponsoring of this unit. So it was supported by DHET for it to be producing all these achievements that I'm going to indicate. Module development, you find that it is in fact having part of our languages in Unisa, like I've indicated, the introduction and the translation. The delaying African languages use is unfair to most South Africans because the majority are in fact using these languages. But when they come to our institution, it is becoming a foreign environment for them. Right? We've got policies that are there. We need to use them, colleagues. It is important for languages in teaching and learning to be used. This must be addressed urgently. We've got examples like in Tanzania, where they're using their African language successfully in Ghana and in Japan. And they're using their African languages successfully. One of the advocates of using the African languages brought Ukne 2016, since in fact 2007, he's been advocating for the application of African languages to be used in our teaching and learning. He in fact suggests 11 applications or application points on how we can apply these African languages in our everyday teaching and learning. Monitoring and evaluation, colleagues, it's what we also need currently in our teaching and learning. Since the curriculum transformation ended in last year in 2023, currently there is less monitoring and evaluation of curriculum transformation. There's a good tool that was developed within Unisa, and that tool allows us to monitor and evaluate the curriculum transformation. I'm not going to deal with it now. If there's a need, I'm going to present it and show it to you when we've got time, colleagues, at the end of this presentation. Unisa goals for creating a more inclusive and representative curriculum, right? Pitso and Zengele believe that including curriculum, including African epistemologies in curriculum is essential so that curriculum transformation becomes a reality in South Africa, right? Hence, we've got the curriculum transformation pillars that have been developed within Unisa. And the first one is African epistemologies and philosophies. These 5 pillars, including diversity and inclusivity, transformative assessment, technology integration in teaching and learning, monitoring and evaluation, they are the ones that inform the academic course that was developed within Unisa and the student MOOC that was developed within Unisa. Colleagues were taken through this course for them to be able to understand and know how to go about infusing this curriculum transformation pillars. The first one, African epistemologies and philosophies, is the one that consists of the IK knowledge. And that was supported by 4 specific focus areas and the curriculum transformation achievements, which I'm going to deal with in the next slides. There are 4 areas, but our focal area out of these 4 will be the last one. And it deals with the acceleration of transforming governance, students, workforce composition, the research agenda, and the curriculum. So that is why we are focusing on the 4th one. That is the focal area of Unisa. This is what has enabled Unisa to be able to create the curriculum transformation unit, develop the course, the 2 courses, and train the academics to an extent of infusing the curriculum transformation pillars. These are Unisa's achievements. These are the goals that creates more inclusive and representative curriculum within the Unisa context. Like I've indicated, the strategic plan 2021 and 2026 to 2030, these are the plans that brought about, they are in fact consisting of these 4 specific focus areas. And that is how the curriculum transformation unit was developed since was created from 2018 to 2023. And the achievements for the curriculum transformation unit was for them to have a curriculum transformation policies, to have curriculum transformation framework from those policies that guides how to go about transforming the curriculum, and the curriculum transformation academic course, including the MOOC, And those would in fact go to an extent of assisting the academics to infuse the curriculum transformation pillars in our modules within Unisa. Thereafter, the MOOC would assist the student to be able to understand what is curriculum transformation, and most importantly, it allowed them to observe or to be able to review our teaching and learning, because there is a feedback in that curriculum transformation student MOOC, that training course. It has a feedback slot where the students would indicate whether we have included all their teaching and learning strategies in terms of how should we teach them, in terms of what needs to be taught to them, in terms of when is it possible for us to be able to teach them, in terms of what is curriculum transformation actually. So that course provided that platform for the students to be able to engage with our teaching and learning as academics, because the curriculum transformation course for academics informed the curriculum transformation MOOC for the students, right? So once we get the feedback from the students, we get the feedback from the academics when they are going through the training to say, are we still relevant? Is the course still achieving its own objective of transforming the curriculum in the real true sense of it? We've got the college and departmental curriculum transformation pillar infusion workshops. These workshops were conducted throughout the year within Unisa. Colleagues were showcasing their modules in terms of how they infuse the curriculum transformation pillars, those 5 pillars, including the first one, which has the IK, Indigenous knowledge. Then colleges and departments would learn from each other during this workshop within Unisa. And we have produced excellent work. I've seen one of the Indaba that is coming, I think this Friday within Unisa. And that Indaba, it is in fact the product of curriculum transformation unit within Unisa, where colleagues would be showcasing their modules. How to infuse the modules was done through the training of this curriculum transformation course within Unisa. The curriculum transformation unit has also developed and trained the curriculum transformation specialists within Unisa. So we've trained more than 204 curriculum transformation agents within Unisa. And these would include curriculum transformation departmental champions. Each and every department was required to have at least one champion. And from there, these champions would elect the lead champion within the college, and the lead champions would form a college transformation committee. We went to the regions, like I've indicated. Initially, that is where we went to all the students within Unisa. And we've in fact formed the regional student curriculum transformation champions and the curriculum transformation champion committees and the curriculum transformation rollout massive plan, which has not been rolled out yet. The powers that be still have to decide what is going to happen. And the unit has also produced a book that was published in 2023. The strategies to incorporate digital preservation methods into curriculum transformation principles. One of them is the app. This is the lesson that we've learned, in fact, from a colleague by, in fact, making sure that Morabaraba and Mufuba, including Kadi and Dode and Mahundai, which are traditional games, they have an app, right? In Unisa, we've got also a module development, like I've indicated, teaching and learning. We've got videos and podcasts, and we've got technology integration, teaching and learning. We've got a curriculum transformation course that assists us to, in fact, preserve this knowledge. We've got the massive open online student course. We've got research and we've got policies that assist us. The potential challenges include resistance to transform the curriculum. Prof. Shai has in fact gone to length in indicating that you've got colleagues. Previously, we were dealing with colleagues who we said they are of color, who were in fact resisting the change. But currently, we've got colleagues who are indigenous, that is in nature, but unfortunately, they resist the transformation of curriculum. Personal curriculum transformation is still a challenge. The application of African languages in teaching and learning, all these are a challenge because of one thing. The transformation of thinking is still to be addressed within Unisa. That will bring about the personal curriculum transformation, which is a challenge. This resistance, in fact, has been there for nearly 2.5 decades. This is indicated by Adibajo, by indicating that the country, that is South Africa, is still mirrored by colonial education paradigms and hegemony. So if we are not transforming or continuously transforming the curriculum, we are not going to be able to deal with this marginalization of our population. Despite the rhetoric of us saying we are transforming all the time, right? We still have our models from Western, thinking. Transformation was not a theoretical issue, and one must not assume that everyone is for it. It's true, like Prof. Shai has indicated. Right. You've got colleagues who are resisting, like I've indicated, when we're trying to use African language, they will tell you, that's not the medium of instruction within this institution. What about the colleagues who do not understand? What must you do? The transformation of South African universities will not be handed over a silver platter, but will have to be fought for in what is likely to be a long and torturous battle. So by transforming the curriculum all the time, we'll get there slowly but for sure, as I've indicated, Unisa's achievements. The potential threat is that from what the curriculum transformation unit has developed, or what the institution Unisa has done up to so far, up until last year, in terms of curriculum transformation, is that we are going to lose the evolution of curriculum transformation, or for that matter, the continuous transformation of curriculum within Unisa. As you can see, all these segments in red, they are in fact the areas where we've got a challenge currently in Unisa, right? This was supposed to be a complete circle, but we've got only 2 areas that are active within this model, within Unisa. You've got the module writing that is continuing, and we've got teaching and learning that is continuing, right? The student MOOC is not active anymore. We've got the student feedback or student involvement that is not active. Currently, the students do not know what is happening in their curriculum, what we have included from this year onwards in their curriculum, because they are not involved. You've got a review that was supposed to be given, it's not there. whether we are doing well in our modules or in our teaching. We do not have a feedback. We go to an extent of the review of a course, because once we review the course, then we are reviewing our teaching and learning or the skills and knowledge that is required. So this is a potential challenge within Unisa. Indigenous knowledge owners and their communities, this is what is been indicated in Botswana, right? It will have a challenge. Masenya indicated that communities do not have mechanisms and policies, which is true. That's why Unisa have gone to an extent of developing the policies, right, to preserve this knowledge, right? And then, like I've indicated, in Namibia, they've got, in fact, a challenge of less effective methods because of space and time. There is a gap of knowledge, skills, competencies, and appropriate standards for digital record preservation. At least Unisa has, in fact, done something about the knowledge gap in terms of curriculum transformation, the skills, right? And at least we've got Pillar 4 that assist us to do the preservation of this knowledge within our modules, right? And by infusing these curriculum transformation pillars, we are preserving, right? Technology teachers understand indigenous technology, but struggle to integrate it into their lessons, right? When we've got colleagues that are not trained within Unisa how to transform their modules, this becomes a challenge for us. Opportunities, right? With the resistance that has been indicated, we need to revisit the strategies and approaches within Unisa. Personal transformation as indicated. We need to use African languages in our everyday academic spaces, presentation, workshop, seminars, and we need to also have our modules teaching this language in full, right? This would be dealing with the same thing. Personal transformation, I've indicated that, and personal transformation once more. What I need to indicate here is these two. Personal transformation is a transformation of values and identities. Once values and identities have not gone to an extent of transforming, then a person will not transform, right? Values and ideas will lead to new diverse ideas which shift individual goals to social goals. The principle of communal, working together, working together. It's a two-way street. That's what we need. This is what personal transformation would assist us to do, to close the loop and have all these areas functioning as a circle. We would go to an extent of having a curriculum transformation course to train the academics. The academics would be able to infuse the modules, the pillars, the curriculum transformation principles and pillars in their modules. And then teaching and learning will also be informed by those modules, because African languages will also be there. And we've got students that will be involved to be able to tell us whether our teaching and learning is it transformed? Are we teaching them in a transformed manner? But that is not there now. That will be there if we are, in fact, closing the loop within Unisa, right? And review the curriculum transformation course. Potential benefits. These are some of the benefits that are mentioned by Kamazuli. He is one of the indigenous knowledge preservation assistant librarian. He indicates that collaborative efforts between indigenous communities and governments to develop and enforce policies that safeguard indigenous knowledge from exploitation and appropriation is important, as this is at the level where my colleague has indicated, that my previous colleague, that there is in fact, national content or a space where everybody could access this knowledge, where everybody could, in fact, feed that website with the indigenous knowledge, depending on where it comes from. Encourage research, provide financial support, which is what Unisa has done, promoting inclusion of indigenous knowledge and educational curricula in research, fostering dialogue and partnership between indigenous communities and wider society for mutual respect, understanding, and appreciation for indigenous knowledge. That is also key, colleagues. Right. The speedily use of digital modification, right, to facilitate the process of preservation is very important. Right, this is within the South African context, right? These colleagues, Mdluli and colleagues, also go to an extent of emphasizing the digital libraries, which is very important. In public libraries in Southwest Nigeria, they employ videos and audio recordings and significant sources to preserve IK. Right, and we in South Africa, we can also acquire the apprenticeship of family line. In other words, this it needs to continue where we've got colleagues, where we've got communities transferring knowledge from one generation to another. It needs to continue because that is important. But the problem is that many of these communities, they lack knowledge of the South African intellectual property. As my previous colleague has indicated, these have been stolen to us, and people have gone to an extent of using the law to, in fact, make these knowledge their own by using the intellectual property law. Right, there is a need for libraries, that is important. And the collaboration between indigenous communities, that is very important, colleagues. So these are some of the things that Unisa has done to be able to do the inclusive environment in terms of curriculum transformation. We've got modules like AYB 481, right, that deals with African theories and learning. This is a new module. It consists of these theories: Ujamaa, Harambe, Letsema, and Lebollo. We've got a maths concept identified a tool, which is Muruba game. It's called also Miller. This deals with the following maths concept: is estimation, counting, addition, and subtraction, logical deduction, problem solving. And you've got Murabaraba, which is used for the following concepts: number of numbering patterns, sorry colleagues, symmetry, measurement, positioning, and movement, including common fractions. This one deals with quadrilaterals, perimeter and area, common, which is chere. Recommendations: personal transformation is important, colleagues. Curriculum transformation within the curriculum transformation through the academic course and the student course is important to close the loop. Curriculum transformation rollout program is also important. Once we close that loop, this is what we are going to have within Unisa, right? The curriculum transformation process that is going to be monitored, that is going to be evaluated, that is going to evolve through our teaching and learning within Unisa. That is why I end up by saying, ngiyabonga ukwanda kwaliwa umthakathi. Nginguvela intombi zimoyizele ngoba zifile uthando lwesithembu engagcwatshwa ngalo ukhokho uNzumbane. Amanzi nomhlaba makwande emabomvini. Thank you very much, colleagues.